Who's going on?
Hello.
You want to start?
Am I starting?
Make Jen start.
Okay, welcome to another book chat with Mostly Books. And today we are going to discuss, there's also a copy there, The Animals at Lockwood Manor by Jane Healey.
I'm Jen.
I'm Jen, and this is...
I'm Jody.
Yeah. Maybe you know us by now, maybe not.
Right. Maybe. First, do we want to talk about the cover?
We do want to talk about the cover.
I know that's a weird way to start the discussion.
We'll start out and then work in.
Right. It's textured.
Yeah, which you will just have to take our word for.
Yeah.
But it's very nice.
I tend to do this when they're textured. So I took mine off, so I'd stop doing that. But I like it. They've imprinted the flower and the lace behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. It was unexpected.
Because there's a lot of wallpaper in the book.
Yes.
Like, if you've read the yellow wallpaper, which would not suggest reading in this current climate, but it definitely reminded me of that.
I also thought of the yellow wallpaper and don't recommend that either.
Yeah, don't read that one. What do you want to start with this book?
Well, let's do a synopsis.
Okay.
So this is the story of Hetty, who is working at a museum that curates taxidermy animals. So it's preserving and, scientific discoveries of animals. And this is in 1939 London. So she's moving her museum into the countryside, and she's going to go stay at this Lockwood Manor, and she's taking a pretty large portion of her animals, as well as other people's, like, fossils and whatnot that they couldn't get to safety to avoid the bombings of World War II. So she takes off to go to this manor, where we then also meet, why am I drawing a blank? Lucy, wow, I don't know, I just drew a blank on her name, who is the daughter of the current major who owns the manor. And so begins the story of what happens there, which was kind of supposed to be a ghostly story of things started to move.
Or things go missing that they can't explain, or there's like lots of noises, or...
And the manor is renowned for being haunted already. Like, this is already in the village gossip.
And like the staff, like the servants and the maids are always like, oh, just, it's hard to keep people around because of all the ghosts. And it's like, all the what?
Right. Yeah, they really cannot keep help.
No.
It's months at most.
That's a whole other thing. Oh, wait.
Yes.
Are we going to do spoilers on this one?
I wondered about that. I feel like we kind of have to on this one.
Okay.
To some extent.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's things I want to talk about.
Okay.
I apologize. We are going to have spoilers.
Yes,
so
we are.
You can hang out for a few more minutes, but then check back in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts on this?
Like before I started reading it? Or like when I was in the very beginning?
What were your thoughts before you started reading it?
Before I started reading it, I was excited because it ticked a lot of boxes that we said we were interested in reading. Then as I was getting into it, I liked how it was written. It read very easily.
Mm-hmm.
It has two points of view, so we get Hetty's, trying to figure things out, and then Lucy's, hers is a lot of, memories of her childhood, which is very interesting, so we get some backstory, but it doesn't necessarily help you fill in holes. No,
it just kind of tells you about Lucy's delicate nature, as the major so lovingly put that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him, too.
Yeah, he's a whole thing.
Yeah. So I did like the style of it. I like the descriptions a lot, especially of the rooms.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wallpaper, but you enjoy the descriptions of the wallpaper or the colored rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked all the spooky bits that we get through it, too, so that was fun. Yeah. I feel like how it, the answer to all the spookiness, I'm not sure I was entirely satisfied with it.
I agree. But I wonder if there was more to it.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be was that the end?
Yeah.
Before we go on to that part, though, I really also liked all the wallpapers. I loved the manor.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge.
Yeah, there's 92 rooms and 4 stories.
Yeah, who needs 92 rooms?
Well, 93 rooms, but we'll get there.
Even when it was at the height of the day, how often were all those rooms filled?
Right?
And at this point in time, it's a very small amount of servants because you have to keep in mind World War II is just beginning. They're getting drafted or whatever it is, that conscripted, I guess, is what they call it. So they're down to a very small staff. They're closing off rooms. They can't keep staff. So that was interesting as well. I was going to say something else about what I liked. I thought it read really quickly. I was glad that she didn't try to capture like the slowness, I guess, the slow pacing of a 1940s kind of style.
Yeah, it doesn't try to be modernist in its style.
No, it doesn't.
It feels more Jane Eyre-esque than like...
Oh, we're so going to have to talk about Jane Eyre.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to talk about Jane Eyre.
So that part was cool. It was very reminiscent of Downton Abbey, but it's reminiscent. I know you didn't really watch much of it.
I watched an episode and a half.
So if you watched it all, and kind of towards the end, where everyone is like really starting to like close down their big, because this is also when they start in history closing down the big manors, and people stop working there. Like shortly after this, these houses don't even exist as much. So that was interesting to see that kind of play out in this book.
Yeah, because it feels like this one is caught between like the late 1800s Victorian and then like modern, like fully modern. Yeah. Because like is it the dinner scene? No, it's like the party scene with the officers, the officer ball. Ugh, when Hetty's like, it feels like a tableau of an older time. Yeah. And like even like reading it, you kind of get, or at least I got this like fuzzy sense of like what time period are we in.
But I think that was exactly how that time was. The aristocrats are trying to hang on to these old traditions, but the rest of the world is moving forward. Yep. And so it was caught in this weird limbo, that whole world. Yeah. So yeah, I liked it overall. Did you like it overall?
I did like it overall. And like it reads quickly. As I read it most of today. But yeah, I did like it, and I like that we picked something different.
Yeah, this was pretty different from our last two so far that we have chatted about.
It's actually pretty different to Two Can Keep a Secret. It's pretty similar.
Oh, I was like, I think we just said that.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, that's not the right word. But yeah, it like felt very much like that one.
In which way?
The Major.
Oh, yeah, because of the main character, or the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Major? Should we just go into that part? He was a jerk.
Yeah, he's so bad.
I think my biggest takeaway of this whole thing was that I think so going back so you have some context, Lucy, as well as her mother, have madness, is what they're afraid of. Like, Lucy's mom would run around the house kind of crazily and would have these bouts, I guess.
Or I should say the devil woman.
Or she was convinced the woman in white was haunting her. Like, and would tell her to beware. She had a different word, for it. It's diables or...
Yeah, because she's from the West Indies, so I think it's French.
Yeah,
French.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that language, sorry. So I felt like the Major was kind of the one who created all of the madness. I think he drove his women.
Gaslighting.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%. Especially when you got to the end and found out that the mom, sorry, spoilers have started. Yeah. That the mom has basically, it seemed like to me, was running through the rooms trying to catch him in his affairs and nastiness.
His abuse.
And his all-out abuse, child abuse, that's how I don't know if I really thought she was mad.
Well, it also reads, I guess this is a little bit like a Jane Eyre segue, but like the crazy woman and the crazy wife in the attic.
Yeah,
and
then, the mad woman in the attic.
If you read like White Sargasso Sea and you hear about how Bertha or Antoinette is like brought to Thornfield, like that felt very much like her mother's, like Eloise's story of like how she married him. Like it had a line like "Never trust an Englishman," and I think of that line in Pocahontas where it's like these white men are dangerous.
Yeah, I really felt like this was like Bertha's kind of like how she became that person in Jane Eyre. I mean she was Jamaican. I mean, and she was in Jane Eyre, and she's from the West Indies. In this one, the house burns down.
Yeah, at one point I was like, is the house gonna burn down?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to draw a parallel. I thought she was totally.
And like Hetty's staying in the Red Room. Yes. And like Jane Eyre like spends like a bunch of her childhood locked in there.
And this mysterious like other woman like outsider coming in to witness all the madness and finding out maybe it's not madness. Exactly. So anyway, I really felt like he gaslighted as well as was verbally abusing them, which made them feel like they were going mad. And all the little dove comments.
And, like, keeping Lucy, like, there and she can't go anywhere. And
oh, absolutely. Yeah. That was all messed up. And then Mary, do you want to talk about Mary at all? And her whole, I don't even know where to start with that one, I guess. Where do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, where do you start with that? Because she's like very, well, not very, but fairly peripheral to the story.
Although I thought it was her. Moment. Did you think it was her?
Oh, yeah, well, I knew something was up with her.
The instant she walked out of the house when we first meet her, when Hetty comes in and she gives that look, I was like, oh, it's coming back to this.
Yeah, but also, like, all the repetition of women in white.
Yeah.
Like Hetty, I forgot that she has, like, very blonde hair. Mm-hmm. And then Mary has very blonde hair. And then Hetty's wearing, like, a white coat at one point.
Yeah.
And Lucy is wearing, like, white pajamas at one point,
too. Everyone's wearing white.
Yeah, it was just, like, there's part of this, like, repetition, so who's the ghost?
Right, as well as the innocent.
Yeah, and Mary was always, like, very antagonistic towards Hetty, so it's like something's up. But then I didn't think she was going to, like, turn out to be a victim.
Yes. Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Especially to the extent of that. I mean, that was crazy. And then even what she was doing, like the rabbit, which did really feel like that was an attack on Hetty. So that was interesting that she was trying to protect the other children, which I thought was a good thing.
But she was just trying to get rid of Hetty. I didn't think she was trying to. Oh, no,
she says at one point, I put the rabbit there when the children were touring so that no other children
do go after.
Would come into his house again after what happened to me. But I thought that was kind of a weird way to do that because that felt like a personal attack against Hetty and not against the major.
Well, maybe it's two birds with one stone thing. You protect the kids and you get rid of Hetty.
Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah, because she obviously didn't like her, even though it was no fault of Hetty's.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But I did, like you, feel like they're still unanswered. Even knowing Mary did most of the mysterious things, or knowing that the major was the one flaunting her in her white nightgown all through the house when they were having their time. But there's still things like the handprints.
Yeah, the handprints on the mirrors. And then Hetty's like, well, it's not my handprint. She's like, I have a crooked finger joint. I'm like, thank you for that detail.
The missing watch, the missing earring, the servant's missing things.
Yeah.
Like, where did these things go?
And how did the major get, like, those white flower petals? Like, it's
oh my gosh, yes.
Like, twice.
On the carpet.
Yeah, Hetty sees them once, and then it's mentioned, like, I think Lucy's talking about, like, the stories her mother would tell her, and she's like, oh, the woman in white with her beasts, like, leaving flower petals behind. But we don't really see them that often.
No.
So, like, are they petals from her mother's, like, funeral flowers?
Which is what Hetty thinks initially, but the placement of them were kind of...
Like, outside her door?
I don't even know how the flower petals would have really gotten there.
Yeah.
And she kind of tried to talk herself into it, but I don't even think she really bought into what she was saying.
Because she also, at one point, says, like, when she's, like, at the end, like, has all the answers. Like, oh, the major was the ghost. And I'm like, so is he the one, like, planting these flower petals and well, if he took her watch, did he think it was going to be, like, another trophy?
I just don't even know why he'd care about the watch, unless he was just doing it to mess with her and to get her out. But I don't know why he would do that either, because he was trying to get her out, but he was trying to do it in a way that he could keep the animals, and that wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just, like, another, like, spooky something that's going on.
I feel like there was a ghost as well.
Yeah, I feel like I wanted there to be a ghost.
I want there to be a ghost, so I've decided there's still a ghost.
It's like this short story we read in one of my English classes called The Willows. I think it's like Algernon Blackwood or Blackwell. It's a name that doesn't sound real when you look at it. And it's these two guys are, like, sailing down the Danube River, and there's willow trees, and they're convinced the willow trees are alive and are haunting them. And then it all turns out that there maybe wasn't, but then there's still unexplained things of, like, why are their rations gone, or, like, who moved this thing, and that aren't explained at the end of the story. So
willow trees are interesting. So, that seems heavy anyway.
So it made me kind of think, like, is there going to be stuff like that? But then the end just gets very domestic, and we don't really get answers.
Yeah, you definitely don't. And then, is the ghost at peace when it burns down? Maybe it was just, I don't even know. Is it the ghost of other Lockwood women? I don't know who would be really haunting it. I don't know if the woman in white really, I don't feel like she followed Lucy's mom, because Lucy's mom at one point says, no, those dreams were telling me to not come, and that then I came, and she's
or
here.
when she was like talking about like, or no, when Martha, remember the Martha like interlude when Lucy's like talking about Martha, who was like the maid, and then the laundress, who was like more of a mother to her than her own mother, because she seemed like saner, and she was talking about like a little girl. I thought she was talking about Eloise's like miscarried child, and like that was the child that, or like that was the ghost, like the miscarried baby was like the ghost of the house.
I don't know. Or was that just Mary?
Well, then Martha was like having a fever, so she also thought Lucy was Eloise, and I was like, there's a whole lot going on here.
I'm still thinking there was a ghost, but again, I want there to be a ghost.
I want there to be a ghost.
So therefore, this is my interpretation of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, okay, definitely a Jane Eyre reference. I also did think even the yellow wallpaper, I know we came back to that one again, but with the
room.
Well, and the hysteria, not that they were, but I feel like that's kind of the whole point.
That's what they want you,
room.
or at least the major like wants you
the
to think about
gaslighting.
them. Yeah. Also from a Victorian play.
Right. I thought this was timely in the sense that they were even at one point said our new normal is like running away from bombs. I know that's really different from our situation and new normal, but it felt timely.
But Lucy like stops going outside at one point.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, you can still go outside.
Yeah, that was a whole weird thing though with the house and the nightmares.
Can we talk about the blue room?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the characters, especially Lucy, and I think like a maid mentions it at one point too. And I don't remember if Hetty's having dreams about it. But there's like this blue room, and the thing is they can't find a blue room like this anywhere in the house. Until there's like a bunch of rain or a pipe burst or something. And
yeah, her plumbing in her in Lucy's bathroom starts leaking.
And so they open up a wall to get to the pipes, and they find the blue room.
Lo and behold, a whole room.
And Lucy's like, oh, I remember this room. My mother used to lock me in here when I was 9.
I don't really, I still don't really understand.
She was trying to lock her in to protect her from her father. That's what I think it was.
You think so? Because she was
like,
so
I'm trying
young?
to keep you safe.
Oh, because you think he would have done something to her too.
Well, the birthday party when Mary's like, the hide and seeking was at Lucy's 8th birthday party.
Oh, right. That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's why. I mean, she did keep saying, I'm trying to protect you. She just kept saying it was from the woman in white.
Yeah, and like,
and
well, she thinks it's, oh, woman in white. And he's English. And very white.
Yeah.
Got that. I just put those two together. I was like, oh!
That was a fun journey.
But yeah, that's why I think she put her in the room.
Yeah, I think that's actually, I hadn't thought of it like that, because I thought she was just trying to hide her away, but I never really thought why. So that I didn't think of, so thank you. That was good. We got there together.
We did. But I wanted the blue room to be more
in the
plot. Or like we got it, and I thought it was going to like impact the plot more and not just be this, oh, that's why you put me in there.
I thought so too. I really thought we were going to have more on that one. I mean, it was fine, but it was kind of like the ghost. Like, the big reveals were like, okay.
Yeah.
But it was fun getting there. Like, I enjoyed the book.
Yeah, I did too.
What did you think about Hetty's obsessiveness with her job?
That, like, well, like everyone else acted like they didn't care about the museum. So I'm like, she's trying to do her job, and everyone's treating it like it's not important. So I get why she's this way, because who else is caring about it if she's not? Right.
And I thought it was kind of crazy how much they were like, oh, you're just being crazy.
Yeah.
Why are you caring so much? Okay, well, this is her livelihood.
But it also had, like, the commentary of, like, people telling her, like, she wouldn't do her job well because she's a woman. But then there's also this, you're too bossy, you're being hysteric. It's
yes. And if it was a guy, this would not how this would have went.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting and frustrating, and I'm glad I was not in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
that was really irritating. All of the way they spoke to her.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have had her self-control with the discussions with the major. Oh my gosh, I think I would have flashed out.
Yeah. She keeps a lid on it.
Yeah,
and like represses a lot. And then just at the end of this section, she's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have been so quiet." And it's like,
and she was put into a hard place though, because she was trying to be really professional. Like, this is her job. He is doing a service for the museum, so you don't want to mess it up. I guess I think that's how she felt, at least.
Yeah, but then there's also like class.
Yeah.
Class,
Hierarchies. And,
that's the word, in play, and
yeah,
there's other power
and then the
dynamics.
women in a man's job and just being treated that way. Yeah.
That wasn't good.
So she was trying. She was walking a thin line, but I don't think I would have done that as well. I think that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah.
He was a chump. Yeah. So, anyway, any last thoughts? Do you want to talk about Lucy and Hetty?
I was going to say, we haven't talked about the love story
Yeah.
yet.
I just realized we didn't even talk about that. This has a lot to talk about, people.
Yeah. They're very sweet. And it's like very tender. And all. It was, I liked it. I also liked that there wasn't a lot of like pining. Like there was pining, but then Hetty's pretty quickly like, I have feelings, and then like runs to Lucy's room, is like, hey, do you have feelings too?
She was. I kind of like the directness, like, oh, let's not waste time.
Yeah, and then Lucy has a section later where she's saying like, oh, that was so brave of her, and it was that was really cute to see.
Yeah, because there was the ongoing comments of, I don't know if there's other women like me out there that would fall in love with me, and I thought, oh, there are. I'm so glad you found each other.
Yeah, and they get to be happy at the end.
Yes.
We didn't bury our gays.
No.
Very good.
No, they go off and live happily, I think. Away from the haunting manor.
Yeah.
I think they left all that madness there, even though she's still having nightmares.
Well, she could just have like some general anxiety disorder.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that coming through that fire and her abusive father, like, he may have only... This is going to sound terrible.
Not have been one of his particular victims,
right?
But he was still
dominating
and a tyrant. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she's still a victim.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part was when Hetty realized how much she would miss Lucy if she wasn't in her life, and that was more important than her animals. Finally, so I thought that was a really nice moment.
It was, because then it's that like human part of stories again, where it's like something matters.
Yeah.
More than this.
Than my job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it.
I did too.
I feel like there's one other thing I was going to say, but I've now, since we said that, lost it. So, anyway, I guess I'll leave that one.
Yeah. If we think of it, we can put it in the comments.
There we go.
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot to talk about on this book, so there may be more.
We found a lot.
Thoughts.
It's not super long either. It's less than 350 pages.
And it really does read fast.
It does read fast. It covers a lot of time. It covers like over a year of narrative time too.
Yeah, it had to have been almost 2 years, I felt like. Because there's 2 winters.
Well, the Phony War. See, I learned this when I was doing research. It's like 8 months or something. It's several months.
Yeah.
They declare war and then like nothing happens.
Yeah. I did have to look up what a tweenie was.
I did look it up.
You didn't?
No,
I
what
had
is
to.
it?
Because they keep referring to one of the servants as a tweenie, and initially I was like, okay, so it's just maybe like a young maid. It is actually not. It's a hall maid. They call them the tweenie.
Is it like because they're between rooms? Like always are between rooms?
Yeah. They didn't really clarify that part. They
I just made
said,
that up.
I liked it. It sounded really convincing. I was going to
Okay.
go with it. But yeah, they just said it was a hall maid
Huh.
in the house. So I was like, all right, not a young one. Not a tween.
Well.
Although, yeah, it probably was in this case because of the major. Jerk. All right, any other thoughts?
No, I think I'm good on this one.
Do we recommend it?
Yeah.
I feel like we recommend it.
I feel like Victorian novels, this kind of feels like Jane Eyre.
Yeah.
I'd Sargasso Sea.
Yes.
Kind of like spooky ghost stories, but maybe that aren't like straight up horror. It's a bit more.
Right.
Kind of like how fantasy has like soft magic. This felt
soft supernatural.
Yeah, soft supernatural. Yeah.
I definitely say if you like Jane Eyre, this would be like, or if you like Downton Abbey.
I like
this
queer
would be,
historical stuff.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how. it didn't have that heaviness of some historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It was very accessible, which I enjoyed in this moment. All right, what else are you reading?
I am listening to another audiobook. So I'm listening. I can hold up the physical book though.
Yay!
I am reading The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep, and I'm very much enjoying it. I'm also not super far into it though, like 10%.
And what it's about?
It's about Victorian literature characters escaping their books in modern day
New
Zealand.
Have a theme going this week.
Victorians are dramatic. They often have like zero thoughts in their heads, so it makes for crazy stories where they all make bad choices. It's fun to read. But yeah, it's two brothers, Robert and Charlie. Charlie can read characters out of books and objects out of books, and it's kind of just caused more problems for them than good things. And Robert feels like he's always cleaning up after his brother. So then they run into Uriah Heep from a Dickens novel, and they're like, that's not your Uriah Heep. You didn't bring him out of the books, so what's going on? And they have to figure
So they bring
that
characters out of books?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
I have so far met Sherlock Holmes, and he's wonderful. He's wonderful. Uriah Heep, and then there's been some others. Heathcliff.
Oh.
But
Here,
like, the magic system is literary analysis. So it's like how you read a character influences how the character appears.
Oh, so depending on the way you read it, is a different character could come out, basically. And
Yeah,
that's
they
interesting.
solve one of their problems by like Charlie arguing with this other person's reading of a plot element and like arguing against it, and that solves the problem. And I'm like, this is everything I love in a book. Literary analysis is the actual magic system. It's wonderful.
I enjoy that. It's not a sell for everyone, but for some.
It is definitely a sell for me and for anyone who took English classes.
Right, I feel like I would read that. Yeah, it feels like a book I'd read.
Yeah. What else are you reading?
I went light and fluffy because I just needed that right now. So I'm doing a Sophie Kinsella. I'm doing Surprise Me. I love her books.
Oh, it's a cute cover too.
It's funny. We're very, I don't know if yours is British though, but
New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Well, we're staying with the foreign text right now, which I am enjoying. So I've read many of her other ones. I think my favorite Sophie Kinsella is I've Got Your Number. And they are just funny little rom-coms. Perfect if you want to escape. I like the Shopaholic series, but I don't ever judge her by just those. Her other books are really wonderful. So yeah, I just started this. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah, so we're pretty early on in our next reads.
Yeah.
Or our other current reads.
This one took time, but it wasn't slow. It was just life happened this week.
It really does.
Yeah. So, should we talk about our book for next week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're gonna do City of Brass. I don't know that I can say her last name.
Chakraborty.
We will learn how to pronounce her
we're
last
gonna
name for
learn.
next week because that's just rude of us. So this is kind of an Arabian Nights retelling. It is a fantasy novel. Yeah, I think we're excited for this one. Is there anything else we should say about this one?
It's much more back. I don't know, some words.
Much more back.
It's going back to like high fantasy that we've been reading.
Oh,
so.
I'm like, I don't know where you're headed with that.
Apparently neither did I. But it's more high fantasy. There's a magic system. One of the characters is a djinn.
Yes.
And it's so it's very different from like what we did this week and what we did
it's
last
very
week.
different from this week and last week's.
Yeah.
And even
what did we do the first?
Did we do the?
Oh, we did the beautiful.
Right. Oh, okay. Different than that too.
Yeah, it's different from that too. Cause
so go. Yeah.
So we're going head first into the deep end of high fantasy.
Of high fantasy, but I'm excited. I like the setting, so I'm excited for that. I like Arabian Night things. I'm excited for the djinn.
I like the cover.
That's fair. The cover's beautiful. I will agree.
Really pretty.
Yeah. So we're excited. So we have these at Mostly Books. If you want to read them in advance, because we do evidently spoil books.
Yeah.
That's our style now. So yeah, you can get them. You can call us at the store. You can get them online at mostlyBooksAZ.com. And I guess we will see you next Friday. Thanks.
Yeah.